Thank you for joining us on NTV at 1. My name is Gladys Gachanja. It is the last day of the month and this is what we have lined up for you. A 5-judge bench is currently delivering a verdict on a petition on charges brought against Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu. Now, Director of Public Prosecutions, that is Nuruddin Haji, had asked the court to determine whether criminal proceedings can be initiated against a sitting judge. Haji also wants the court to rule on whether before criminal prosecution it is constitutional necessary to remove the judge from office. We are live from the Milimani Law Courts with our reporter Mel Miendo, but as I said, that verdict is ongoing. Let's listen in.
Of prosecution. In exercise of such power, the DPP is required under Article 15711 to have regard for the public interest, the interest of the administration of justice, and the need to prevent and avoid abuse of the legal process. We now turn to consider the issues identified above in order, and in doing so, we shall consider whether the material placed before us demonstrate the alleged violations of fundamental rights and guaranteed under the second article, and whether there has been conservation of the state power of prosecution. This is yet another case in which the DPP's decision to mount prosecution in exercise of these constitutional powers is under challenge. The petition therefore denies the debate on the role of the court in checking that the DPP's discretion and the power to prosecute is not abused vis-a-vis the public interest that the DPP's constitutional mandate of commencing criminal prosecution is not unduly hampered by the intervention by the court. When the basis of a challenge to this decision is on the legal and factual foundation of the charges prepared, then the debate often revolves around the scope and depth of scrutiny to be undertaken by the court, and that debate is present in this petition. Not surprisingly, the opposite side to this petition do not agree on the approach which the court should take. We are urged by the petitioner not only to interrogate the process in which the charges were brought, but also to the merits of the decision to mount the prosecution. The court is asked to take a cue from the holding of the majority in the Court of Appeal decision in Njuguna S.Ndogo by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, that in matters of this nature, the court is enjoined to make tentative and objective findings in the legality of the charges and the prospect of a conviction. An approach that, though not a trial, involves a scrutiny of the proposed evidence in the context of relevant law. The DPP, DCI, and AG, on the other hand, call for a more restrained examination. They contend that the court's power of prosecution should be exercised sparingly and in the clearest of cases. We are beseeched to remain the neutral arbiter and refrain from making orders that amount to an unnecessary factor on the DPP in the discharge of this constitution.
Pictures and sound coming from the Milimani Law Courts, where 5-judge bench is delivering its verdict on a petition on charges brought against Deputy Justice, that is Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu. Remember that she had been accused and graft charges leveled against her, and she and lawyer Stanley Muluvi were to face a total of 13 charges over monies allegedly received from the collapsed Imperial Bank. Well, Mel Miendo is following up on that story and she will update us in our subsequent bulletins. The Salaries and Remuneration Commission has today moved to court to challenge the decision by MPs to pay themselves housing allowances with the help of the Parliamentary Service Commission. SRC says in the suit filed as urgent that the move by the PSC was unlawful and risks costing the taxpayer an additional 1.19 billion shillings annually. The commission wants the two houses of parliament found guilty of breaking the law and compelled to reform refund some of the money already paid to MPs. The suit follows reports that MPs had awarded themselves 250,000 shillings each as house allowance despite an opposition from the SRC. The MPs had argued that the allowances are meant to cater for the expenses in Nairobi, where they spend most of their time away from the constituencies. But SRC now says that MPs already enjoy hefty salaries, which are enough to cater for all of their expenses. A section of Mount Elgon residents in Bungoma County have prepared a petition for alteration of Bungoma and Trans Nzoia County boundaries to transfer Mount Elgon constituency to Trans Nzoia County. The petition, that has the backing of a number of area leaders, has already been received by the Senate. The county government of Bungoma has, however, dismissed the petition, saying the petitioners are people with ill motives meant to frustrate the county's development agenda. Zacchaeus Mosame now joins us live from Mount Elgon with more.
Okay, thank you, Gladys. We are coming to you live from Mount Elgon in Bungoma County. Like you rightly mentioned, we have joined some sort of a section of residents here who have made a petition to the Senate wanting to have Mount Elgon constituency be moved to Trans Nzoia County. They claim that they are the minority here, and that has denied them a number of services. They say that being the minority they have not been able to put their voice together so that they could demand for what belongs to them. But now I'm going to be joined by some of these petitioners here in Mount Elgon to just quickly tell us what the petition is all about and what they intend to achieve by doing this. You know?
Mimi naitwa Kitio Ramadan. Nasema ya kwamba tunaenda mlima ya Trans Nzoia kutoka Bungoma. Na sababu kamili ni kwamba hapa Bungoma tumeitwa minority, yani walio chache, na hata services yetu zimekuwa chache hivyo. Na imesababisha sisi kuumia kwa muda mrefu. Kwa hivyo tuko na uchungu mkuu sana. Tumejaribu kulalamika na hakuna mtu wa kutusikia. Kwa mfano hapa mama zetu bado wanaenda maji mbali, wanatumia punda zetu hata kusahana wameendelea kutitimia kwa sababu ya kasi ngumu. Kwa hivyo ni kilio chetu kama watu wa mlima Elgon, tumeanza safari na tuna imani tunafika, maana hatuwezi kukoma. So tunaomba ya kwamba tufanywe haraka hivyo ili tuendelee na kazi zingine zetu za maana kuliko kukaishwa kwa jambo hili kwa muda mrefu, na ni haki yetu.
Asante sana.
Mimi naitwa Gladys Gachanja, kiongozi wa kina mama Mount Elgon constituency. Na tunatoka Bungoma. We are exiting Bungoma County because of the oppression and because we were forced to go to Bungoma County by force. And it is oppression of over 150 years down the line. Those are historical injustices. Tuna address the government, the national government, through the Ministry of Devolution. Na tuko na mambo machache sana ambayo tunataka tuongelee kwa sababu services za Bungoma County, we are the taxpayers. 75% zinatoka Mount Elgon. Na ukiangalia budget ya 2019-2020, allocation yenye tumepewa kama Mount Elgon is laughable. Unaweza cheka kwa sababu no flagship project hata moja, na tuko na sub county 3, Mount Elgon, Cheptais na Kopsiro.
Labda mnadhani kisheria kutoka Mount Elgon kwenda Trans Nzoia kisheria inawezekana vipi? Naangalia sheria kwamba inaruhusu ile.
Tuko na we were guided by the law. That is the constitution. Article 188 inaturuhusu, and it is our right. We are not, nimesema tulilazimishwa twende Bungoma. Angalia hii vitu kwamba equalization fund yenye wamesema 400 million hakuna, tunaambiwa kitu yenye haiko. Then we are considered last. Look at the tea factory imepelekwa Chwele. Processing machine ya potatoes imepelekwa Sirisia. That is confirmed. Tuko na county council yenye ilikuwa ya Kapsokoni, it is totally dead. Now we are answerable to Kirinyaga. You can imagine that.
Have you tried to engage the county government of Bungoma over this?
How do we engage a government yenye inajua sisi we are the taxpayers? Do we have to engage the government yet we pay tax? Hiyo haiwezekani. They know it is our right. Then tuko na devolution. Down the line tume receive 40 billion. Not even a single billion imekuwa allocated to Mount Elgon. Tuko tunachezewa tu hivi. Then our way forward, tuna demand the national government services zetu zitoke huko kwa sababu hapa hatutaki tupembelezane. Wakati tunangojea twende tupate kaunti yetu kama Mount Elgon na tuunganishwe na wenzetu wenye tulitenganishwa kitambo, tupate services yetu from the national government, and we are addressing two houses, that is the Senate and the National Assembly. And let them not take this for granted.
Gladys, some of the members who petitioned this to the Senate, they said they are going to wait for that discussion that will be coming up in a later date to have the fate of this move be sealed. Back to you in the studio from Mount Elgon. My name is Zakis Masama.
Thank you, Zakis Masama, and definitely we'll be referring to you for more details coming from that situation of border conflict within the Trans Nzoia Bungoma region. Well, President Uhuru Kenyatta on Thursday evening made history by becoming the first sitting president of Kenya to visit a mosque and pray with Muslims. He joined worshippers at Jamia Mosque in prayer and in breaking their fast. The head of state's visit was made more significant by the fact that Muslims are marking the last 5 days of the holy month of Ramadan. The last days of the fasting period are regarded as more rewarding to Muslims. Before the iftar and the prayers, the president was taken on a tour of Jamia Mosque complex, where he visited the library and Horizon TV station operated by the mosque. He urged Muslims and all other Kenyans to always remember to foster peace and unity, adding that tolerance is the bedrock of harmonious coexistence. The president assured the community that the government will never advocate injustice against any group of Kenyans. He said the community should work closely with the government in fighting crime and extremism.
Yale ambaye sisi tunataka kupigana naye ni wahalifu, ni wafisadi, ni wale ambao wanataka kuleta mgawanyiko kati ya Wakenya. Hawa ni maadui, na ni maadui wa Waislamu, ni maadui wa Wakristo, ni maadui wa kila Mkenya ambaye ni mpenda amani.
We will join you in making sure that you build a society that is united, where every Kenyan, regardless of his community, his religion, where he comes from, feels at home and lives in a very peaceful Kenya, where all of us are proud of each other.
This is showing the solidarity of Kenyan society. Not to be fragile, it will be the pillars of new Kenya, strong Kenya, as a model not for East Africa, but the whole continent.
Well, hundreds of women met at the University of Nairobi on Thursday to denounce increasing violence against women and girls. The women, who included activists, leaders, young women and families who have lost their loved ones, all converged in grief over the loss of nearly 40 women across the country this year. The event, under the theme How Life Matters, also served to provide counseling to those who have encountered trauma as a result of gender-based violence. The ceremony remembers mothers who have lost their daughters, from Sharon Otieno, who was murdered last year and her body abandoned in a forest, to Ivy Wangeshi, the Moi University medical student killed weeks ago, and Helen Kwambuka, a police officer found dead a week ago in her house in Umoja.
We cannot have women being killed. The men say, what about the boy child? We do have men that have also been killed, and we're sympathetic to them. We don't want anyone killed. Relationships are not supposed to result in death. Relationships are supposed to be loving and long-lasting.
Who are in this room, we also need to do our part. If you are blessed with a son, have a conversation with them and tell them, no from a girl is not a good enough reason to be mad and even to kill her. And let's socialize our children to live as human beings.
Education matters now. Education Cabinet Secretary George Magoha has kicked off a countrywide inspection of schools to verify if publishers have distributed all the 12.3 million textbooks. The distribution of textbooks started on April the 28th and was to last until May 15th, but was given a 2-week extension that lapsed on Thursday. Speaking at Embu Urban Primary School, CS Magoha says that the books are meant to enable the implementation of the competency-based curriculum, CBC, adding the ministry officials will continue to carry out spot checks in various schools across the country to ascertain that their books have been delivered. He added that the CBC program is taking shape slowly and that the country should support it since it will empower learners.
In this life, I think this is what I must do for my grandchild. Because you are seeing the children being empowered to listen, to take part, to go and write, to discuss with the teacher. I think that's where we really have to go.
A look at health matters. Kenya National Union of Nurses Secretary General Seth Panyako has called for compensation of 5 nurses who were diagnosed with hepatitis B while on duty at the Kirinyaga hospital. The 5 are said to have contracted the disease due to the deplorable state of a hospital characterized by unhygienic and poor working conditions.
Services in all public hospitals in Kirinyaga County are paralyzed for the 3rd day running after health workers downed the toll, citing deplorable working conditions and poor sanitation in hospitals. Most of the institutions have been left without health workers, and patients have been forced to look for services in private hospitals. Health workers drawn from the KMPDU, the Kenya Union of Nurses and Clinical Officers Union, claimed their colleagues had contracted diseases such as hepatitis B due to poor sanitation at the Kirinyaga level 4 hospital.
That we shall fight for the compensation of those nurses to the last end.
According to the health workers, the county government has failed to equip the Kirinyaga County Referral Hospital and continues to mistreat staff. They also want the county government to hire more nurses, doctors and casual workers.
A working laboratory. We need pharmacy equipped. We need equipment working in theater and every sector. And every sector need a health worker who is fully trained. And across board that we need security and we need people who are trained to ensure that they are managing even waste, so that we don't continue contracting diseases which are controllable.
The union says they will not sit back as their members are intimidated and threatened when they demand good working conditions. The health workers claim they will not resume work until all their grievances are addressed.
Health sector is not like moving around and playing karata na maisha ya wananchi wa Kenya. Kwa hivyo, let her know that this struggle is not going to end today. The better she sits down with us to start solving it, the better for the people of Kirinyaga. And she knows that the people of Kirinyaga, she's saying that she's being supported. Let me make it very clear that we are not answerable to any politician in this country.
She cannot run away. She cannot fire people by SMS who have contract. And again, she employ other people on SMS the next day after things went wrong.
Wars at the Kirinyaga health sector began last month when the county laid off some 346 casual workers in the health sector, leading to problems in medical institutions in the county.
Elsewhere, post-mortem examination conducted on Thursday on the late Cecilia Nyambura, who died mysteriously at Kitengela Mission Hospital, indicates she developed breathing complications that led to her demise. Wambui, who was scheduled to undergo a minor ankle surgery last week Thursday, but the doctors later informed the family that she had passed on. The deceased will be laid to rest today in Kitengela.
Grief has engulfed this family, their faces depicting what they have endured as they awaited the post-mortem examination of their loved one who died under mysterious circumstances on Thursday, 24th May. The deceased Cecilia Nyambura, a mother of 3, had been admitted to Kitengela Mission Hospital and was scheduled to undergo an operation last week Thursday as she had a minor ankle injury. Hours later, the family was informed that she was no more. A post-mortem examination conducted Thursday reveals that the deceased had developed breathing complications and her lungs were filled with water.
Our findings included lack of oxygen to the body, meaning when she was dying, she was having convulsions, and that can cause lack of oxygen entry to the body. Unfortunately, we've not been able to ascertain the exact cause of death. We are waiting for toxicology and histological examination.
Kifo cha Nyambura mimi kwangu nasema imetokana na kutokwao kutibu Nyambura kulingana na vile inafaa. Jambo ya pili, kutoka hawa watu hawajai atafika nyumbani ama kutuambia pole ama kutaka kujua nini inaendelea.
Doctors say they will conduct more tests to determine whether the dose she was given was the right one or if it was an overdose. Helen Aura, NTV.
Security Matters, a 12-member committee representing leaders from the pastoral region, was formed on Thursday to work with the national government security team with the aim of restoring peace in the North Rift. This follows a meeting between the national security team led by Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i and the pastoralist parliamentary group led by National Assembly Majority Leader Aden Duale. The leaders expressed their support for the ongoing process, which is part of police reforms meant to establish the number of NPRs in the country and to assess their suitability and their integrity. They also promised to work together with the executive and ensure political support during the disarmament and vetting of NPR in the frontier counties.
All over the country, and more so now in the North Rift, and that the specific areas which are hotspots will be done in a very gradual way to make sure that no vacuum is left.
Public participation, engagement, support will be given by leaders once we work together with the executive to ensure that information gets to our people.
We will stay on this until we find lasting solutions. The challenge we have had in the past is we've had a touch and go attitude towards problems related to security in the North Rift. We do some activities over a period of 2-3 months, and when the place looks like it's calm and some activities are going on, we all go back to business as usual until again we see an upsurge in card rustling and some criminal activities. We have agreed with these leaders that the committee that they have formed of 12 will work with us. We will consult within government.
Now, police officers based at the Ruaka police station have literally been working in the dark after the Kenya Power Company disconnected them from the grid over an outstanding 1.1 million shillings bill. NTV's Anita Nkonge reports the officers are pleading for help.
A 1.1 million debt owed to the Kenya Power and Lighting Company has left police at Ruaka police station sitting in darkness for the past 3 weeks. The blackout has led to a disruption of services, including the police officers' capability and strength to do their work effectively.
Inabidi tuongee na majirani watuchajie, saa zingine wanakataa. So hiyo ni changamoto kubwa. Na mawasiliano sisi wenyewe hata simu lazima tupeleke kama ni town kwenda kuchaji huko. Hiyo ndio hasa changamoto kubwa. Na kambi yenyewe iko na giza. All over.
Residents in the area want their MP Paul Koinange, who is also the chairman of the Parliamentary Committee on Security, to intervene and help resolve the matter in a bid to help ensure security.
Mheshimiwa wetu Paul Koinange tulikupigia kura vizuri, so tunaomba tu tudishie stima tu huku kwa kambi, at least security iendelee kuwa venye ilikuwa kitambo.
The area MP acknowledged the matter as pressing and urgent, explaining that his office was investigating how the bill grew to that amount. Koinange claims the bill was illegally inherited from an NGO, a nursery school and a church that previously used their account. Anita Nkonge, NTV.
2 bodies were discovered at Sabor Kaptagat Forest in the county of Elgeyo Marakwet on Thursday, a day after President Uhuru Kenyatta expressed concern and called for an end to the rising number of unexplained killings in the country. The bodies were discovered by athletes from the county who were on an early morning run. NTV's Lois Wangoi reports.
The athletes who were on a morning run rushed to the neighboring villages to alert residents that they had discovered bodies in the forest. Residents then called the police. There were 2 bodies and 2 people who were still alive.
Tukaona kuna watu wamelala pale. Sasa ndio tukajaribu kueleza sasa watu wa kijiji wajue kuna watu hapa wamekufa. Tukapata mmoja amelala pale lakini hakuwa amekufa.
Kimboy speaks about 2 persons whom they also discovered in the forest alive. They had been shot and left for dead. Police officers rushed the 2 to Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital.
Ndio sasa polisi akapikiwa, chief akapikiwa. Ndio chief akaita polisi walikuwa wachaenda mbali, wakarudi, wakachukua hiyo mtu kupeleka Moi Referral.
The spate of murders has claimed many, including Uasin Gishu Governor Jackson Mandago's brother, who was found murdered and abandoned in a construction site. Lois Wangoi, NTV, Eldoret.
Back in the city, and City Hall has introduced an intelligent traffic light system that is set to give pedestrians some authority and control on roads in the capital city. The new digital zebra crossing technology, which is being piloted on some streets, is aimed at improving the safety of pedestrians, especially children and the disabled. NTV's Helen Wanjohi tells us more.
Under the new system, a pedestrian presses a button on a gadget that signals traffic lights, which then counts down how much time one has to cross. The system also signals drivers of vehicles that there is a pedestrian that needs to cross the road. Just like in the old system, the green light gives pedestrians the go-ahead to cross the road, while the red light is a signal for vehicles to give way. County traffic marshals have been deployed at each side of the road to help the pedestrians operate the system, as well as flag those who break the traffic rules. Kenya is among the first countries in Africa to adopt the system, which is widely used in developed countries. County Transport Executive Hidan Majevda explains that the system is currently on a trial phase before it can be implemented fully on the city roads. Pedestrians hope the system can improve safety on the roads. Helen Wanjohi, NTV.
Across the borders, Sudan's Transitional Military Council has closed the Khartoum office and withdrawn work permits of correspondents and staff members of Qatar-based broadcaster Al-Jazeera. The move came as Sudan's military rulers said a protest encampment outside the defense ministry in central Khartoum represented a danger to the revolution and threatened the coherence of the state and its national security. Al-Jazeera says Sudanese security officers informed it of the decision to shut it down, but no written decision was given to the bureau's director. In a statement, Al Jazeera denounced the abrupt closure of its bureau in Khartoum and the banning of its reporters from reporting in the country, calling it a complete violation of the freedom of the press. Sudan's protesters threatened on Thursday to launch a civil disobedience campaign to pressure the ruling military to hand power to a civilian transitional government after their 2-day strike failed to produce tangible results. An Illinois grand jury has indicted R. Kelly on 11 additional sexual abuse charges 3 months after prosecutors in Cook County filed 10 similar counts against him in a wide-ranging investigation of the singer's long-rumored misconduct. The new charges stem from an event that allegedly occurred in January 2010. 4 of the counts are categorized as Class X aggravated criminal sexual assault, a felony that carries a threat of 6 to 30 years behind bars. 2 of the counts are for Class 1 criminal sexual assault by force, another 2 are for Class 2 aggravated criminal sexual abuse, and the last 3 are for Class 2 aggravated criminal sexual abuse against victims between the ages of 13 and 16. Kelly has been accused of making sexual advances toward underage girls and young women for decades. In the mid-2000s, he faced criminal charges related to child pornography, for which he was acquitted, and the accusations gained renewed attention in January when Lifetime debuted a 6-part documentary series titled Surviving R. Kelly to lay out several accusations against him.
Listen, man, and thank you. Thanks.
Sean Cadavillis is in studio with the latest from the sporting world.
The Shindana Stars.
Coach Sébastien Mignet is optimistic the 3-week training camp in France will serve as a great boost to the squad, and that's ahead of their participation at the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations in Cairo, Egypt. Mignet, who spoke upon the team's departure for Paris, said he needed a training camp with minimal distraction on the players, noting that they will use the opportunity to prepare well for their Group C matches against Algeria, Senegal and neighbours Tanzania. Meanwhile, he leaves behind a disappointed group of fans after he left out KPL top scorer Alan Wanga from the squad. While abroad, Stars will be playing at Madagascar in Paris and DR Congo in Madrid. The team of 27 will be trimmed further to 23 before they leave for Egypt.
We will work hard, for sure, to prepare the game, the first game against Algeria, to try to be ready physically, because to develop also our team spirit and the discipline of the team, because without discipline and good fitness you cannot speak about football.
Sahi Kenya kibol tumeimprove, najua zinaita kwa opportunity poa, kwa ma players pia kuonyeshana yani venye penye Kenya sasa imefika. Najua kuna change kubwa utaona na kulingana na hii tournament yani tuenda kuapproach.
AFCON is the biggest tournament in Africa, so I'm looking forward to go and have a good tournament.
We have seen a lot of players happy in training, and I know the camp in France will be fantastic.
The Toronto Raptors, with the support of an entire nation behind them, won the first NBA Finals game to be played outside of the United States with a thrilling 118-109 victory over the two-time defending champions. Featuring West Indies and Pakistan at Trent Bridge. That is in Nottingham, is ongoing with Pakistan batting. Trophy was paraded through the streets of Madrid on Thursday ahead of Saturday's final between Tottenham and Liverpool. Former players Fernando Morientes of Liverpool and Real Madrid, Roberto Sorosabal of Atletico Madrid were on radio show Sportsline on 96.3 Nation FM, and that's on between 3 and 5 p.m. Back to you, Gladys.
Thank you, Sean Capidol-Villas, for the latest from the sporting world. Just remember that there is something that's ongoing as we speak. A 5-judge bench has just delivered that ruling on charges brought against Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu. Remember, she was facing graft charges, and I am told that sitting has actually ended. But one of the rulings coming out is that the bench has no reason to doubt the DPP and they have no evidence to show that he or the DCI have an ulterior motive in seeking criminal proceedings against DCJ Mwilu. Again, one of the rulings is that we have no reason to doubt the DPP. We have no evidence to show that he or DCI have an ulterior motive in seeking criminal proceedings against the DCJ, that is Philomena Mwilu. Now, remember that the Director of Public Prosecutions, Nuruddin Haji, had asked the court to determine whether criminal proceedings can be initiated against a sitting judge and whether before the commencement of such criminal prosecution it is constitutionally necessary to remove the judge from office. More details coming from the verdict will be coming to us from Mel Miendo in our subsequent bulletins. For now, thank you for joining us on NTV at 1. My name is Gladys Gachanja. Enjoy your weekend.